Webcam microphone up close. Webcam microphone up close.
At the age of 19 in 1962, she was a...
See, but I have the files. I read this stuff at the National Archives, and I read these other things. I said to myself, how can that be possible? The brain, pistols and frontal slab of choice. I don't know that doesn't really matter. Internet, professional wrestlers, and not Jesse Ventura style. It doesn't matter where the cartoon comes from as long as it's real. It's hard to get real information. Because seriously, they don't want you to have to read these two together whenever I try to prove out. It's not. If you expect your government to tell you the truth, you're going to be sadly disappointed on another one of these things.
Dear Lord, what a dirty, dirty old man, huh?
Really? Can't be serious. Is this really how you want things to be? Come on. More hooker, eruptions, eruptions, whatever.
Like Dave Powers kind of.
Really?
Allegedly broadcast live from Pima Region 2-3 within the borders of the formerly united and currently occupied states of America. We bring you the Ochelli Effect.
It's like, damn sure, no, I'm an original.
We have all these situations. I'd love to know why it takes 50 years, for...
That's that.
For a 19-year-old girl to eventually get up to gumption to put these things out.
And once again, yes, that is that. It is Thursday night, the Ochelli Effect on UCY.TV radio. I'm Chuck Ochelli. I'll be your host. What a week. Interesting that we're now looking down the barrel of so many interesting events in the world. When you deal with the ISIS narrative, when you deal with the war on terror that's at home, the whole thing that's sprawling out there in Pennsylvania. Oh, isn't that wonderful? And let's talk about Pennsylvania, all over again. I don't think I'm going to do that tonight. I'll tell you what I am going to do, though, is I'm going to add in Dylan Wade in just a second, and we're going to go over a couple of things. We're going to talk about Scottish independence, hopefully. I have not gotten word as to how that vote has gone thus far, but we shall see if we can get an update from a friend in the UK who may or may not appear tonight. Let's just see what happens. So, I was on Dylan's show last night, which is called The Truth Speaks, and we were discussing a whole lot of interesting topics, but we're just going to kind of wing it in a different direction tonight. Dylan, you with me?
Yep, I'm here, Chuck.
Awesome. Any word from Gregory yet?
Nothing. I don't think he's... I don't know what's up. I don't think he's available at this point. He never jumped on Skype.
Okay, well, that may be. In any case, we can go over the general story as it stood, as I understood it, and kind of discuss it because... Well, I'm of two minds on this, as I am on many different topics. The reality of anything that is going to loosen the grip of the British crown on anything seems to be a positive, right?
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I mean, realistically, just like some other people said earlier today, and we're in fact simulcast on this network, it is interesting to note that it does not matter who votes. It really matters who counts the votes, right? So,
right.
Go ahead.
Who does count the votes in this situation?
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, where is there not a corrupt sort of representative system? Regardless of which continent you happen to be standing on, I don't think that...
Sorry, I agree with that, but don't you think it's the nature of corruption to want to have as free a government as possible? I mean, it's the nature of corruption to want to grasp hold of a country, and it's harder to grasp hold of the UK rather than a newly independent Scotland.
Well, I don't see it that way, I got to tell you, because, the implementation of most of the corruption is via the governments at this point in time. So
I agree with that.
you know, who better to handle the people in a most I don't know, vociferous manner? You know, who better to keep the slaves enslaved than the people who have been doing it for the longest time, the British Empire, after all. So, you know, why should the new boss, you know, really relinquish their power to the old boss? Of course, we're hearing about oil fields and deals being made and everything else. Of course, I have the mainstream story up in front of me from our favorite news site, Reuters. Yeah. And I figured we could go over that real quick, but I mean, unless there's something else you want to add in before I get to butchering that, because, you know, we all know how well the blind man reads.
Well, do you want to send it to me and I can try to read it?
If you like, we could do it that way. I didn't think of that before showtime, but let's see.
I mean, how bad can it be, right?
Well, you know, but it won't allow for the same commentary that I usually drop in there. So maybe I'll do part of it and you'll do part of it, just so I can get some of that. You know, I'm searching for words today, and it's not good, man.
Like every 2 sentences, I'll probably take a pause, and because I know you have a lot of commentary, so.
Oh, I always do. And just for the record, everybody, there was a question asked to me recently about was I the Ochelli that worked for Reuters? No, that is a relative of mine. And trust me, you can't get two divergent individuals, you know, and two more differing individuals about a worldview than myself and my father's brother, who actually was the guy who used to work for Reuters. So,
there was an Ochelli who used to work for Reuters?
Yes, sir, there was.
Is that where your hatred for Reuters comes from, or is it just that they're really graphic for no reason?
No, it's just it is extremely like you know, visceral without cause all the time, right? I'm wondering exactly how ugly this is going to be. Let's start it off anyway.
Let's see.
You hear me sighing already, right? So, Perth, Scotland. Okay, Scottish nationalist leader Alex Salmond. Okay. Implored Scots to grasp the opportunity of a lifetime to secure independence in a vote on Thursday that could break the United Kingdom apart. Okay, and then this is in quotes. This is our opportunity of a lifetime, and we must, of course, we're parroting from the first paragraph. This is our opportunity of a lifetime, and we must seize it with both hands, Salmond told a meeting of supporters at Perth, Eastern Scotland, just hours before polling stations open.
Why didn't they just take the quote and use that as their opening? I mean...
Yeah, this is part of the problem with them. I'm telling you. It
feels like they're just trying to fill up space.
Well, it's repetition. It's, look, we said it, he said it, so it must be true. See, 2 sources, even though it's the same source.
You said it in the first sentence.
Yeah. You know, what happened to the days of, now, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm an old guy at this point, but, you know, there used to be this standard in news stories where you had to give them the who, what, when, where, why,
really?
And how in the first paragraph, okay?
Really?
Yes, I kid you not, sir. This used to be exactly how they instructed any journalist, and I do mean even a junior high school journalist, as I was one.
As am I.
Well, there you go. And they used to tell us that this was a necessary construct for you know, putting out a news story. Your second paragraph had a different structure, but in the opening paragraph, you were supposed to lay these things out. Now,
the upside of this article is it's only 4 paragraphs.
Yeah, this is the upside of it, right?
And if it's the same as the first 2, we're going to be done in a minute.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It doesn't go very far, does it? You know. So okay. So we go to another quote. Okay, actually, I think there's 5 paragraphs there, Dylan. You might have miscounted.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
Okay.
Never said math was my strong suit.
No problem. This in my quotes again, okay? This in my estimation, which this should be attributable to Salmond again, this in my estimation has been the greatest campaign in Scottish democratic history, end quote. Salmon said, though he added that the British establishment had thrown, and quotes again, the kitchen sink, end quote, at the independence campaign. Huh.
Why don't they...
Good.
If they're going to use so many quotes, make it a collection of quotes. Don't split it up to add their own commentary to it when they're saying the same thing.
Well, how else can you take somebody out of context, first of all, and make them seem a bit more eloquent than they actually are?
Yeah.
But let's see. Should we continue? He denied an offer of more powers from British leaders, okay, as a quote, tepid offer of next to nothing, end quote, but said he would accept the result if he lost the independence vote. Okay, so in other words...
We have to seize the opportunity, but I'm okay if we don't.
Well, hey, look, we both like movies. Let's take this right on back to the Mel Gibson, William Wallace story for just a second. They try to buy off the Scottish royals and the Scottish, what did they call them? I forget.
The Scotland scammers?
I don't know. They were like the noblemen, right? The quote, let's hold up our quotes. The Scottish noblemen were bought off, right? And here we go with a phone call. Let's add this one in. 727. Let's see. You're on the air, I think.
Hello?
Hello.
Is this Chuck Ochelli?
Sure is.
I was listening on the show. I called the other day, and I was, but I don't want to bother the show. Can I talk in from time to time?
Okay. We're just talking about the whole Scottish independence thing.
Okay.
That's the subject we're on at the moment. If you got something you want to add in, we could do that. But
well, my internet is oh, jeez.
Having trouble keeping your player going?
Okay, on the computer or on the computer or the telephone?
Well, I can hear one of them going. That's for sure.
Yeah. So
well, I'm trying to walk away from it then.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, if you want to mute up and just hang out while we're going over this, that's cool. And then, jump in just a few minutes.
Okay, I will.
All right.
I'll mute my computer.
That would be great. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Let's see.
Go ahead with what you're talking about. Sorry about disrupting your conversation.
Not a problem, boss. Not a problem. Okay. So let's see. We got... all right, I talked about the independence vote, and we're just going to finish this up really quickly, okay? In quotes again, Scotland's future must be in Scotland's hands, end quote. Salmon told hundreds of supporters waving the white on blue Scottish flag who chanted, quote, yes, we can.
Sounds familiar.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, is this something for every PSYOP now? I don't know. And according to this, the reporting is by Dylan Martinez, writing by Alistair Smoot, editing by Guy Falkerbridge. Wow. So it takes 3 guys to write 5 paragraphs, basically. I love that.
That's kind of sad.
That's awesome and overkillish. I love it.
Real journalism there.
Reuters. You give me agita. But there they are. And meanwhile, this is going on right now, and I'm having a hard time. I mean, look, I looked at the Drudge Report thing on it and didn't want to go into all that. I looked at a couple other sources on it to see what was best, and really this kind of condensed it, even though it's loaded with these, hyperbolic kind of statements and this rah-rah kind of mentality, and of course, topped off at the very bottom with the yes, we can notion. So...
Has anybody pointed out that this seems to happen in all these kind of campaigns or psyops?
Well, you know what's interesting here is, like I said, when we're going back to the whole William Wallace discussion, right? What did they do? They bought off the leaders, the noblemen, right, over in Scotland with promises of title and land, and extended powers, as he had mentioned right there. If they give them more power, if they give them more control over their own destiny, then maybe they could be bought off in that way. I think it's really just a grab, for the sovereignty of a nation, but also they want to maintain, the Scottish use of the English pound, because I think that's really the game here.
The euro's going down. We all know that. And I think that Scotland, like Russia, is trying to jump ship.
Well, all politicians are suspect, right? But I mean, the apparent thrust of the movement would be to extract themselves from the UK and possibly to extract themselves from the EU, right?
I would be in complete support of that.
Yeah, I mean, look, anything that's going to break down any of these mega governments, any of these collectivized, systems, we got to look at it as a positive. But I'm wondering if this isn't just, yet another one of these distractions. And meanwhile, look, I am somebody who doesn't have any sort of sympathy for the City of London nor the UK as it stands. Okay, let's get that really clear. And of course we know all about how, the oligarchy has its, control headquarters right there pretty much.
Well, it's their New York Vatican.
Oh, yeah, but this is one of the key hubs for it, Sure. And the Vatican's more of an outcropping of this anyway, because after all, all roads lead back to the Rothschilds, right?
Yeah. By the way,
go ahead.
I just finished 1984.
Oh, you did finally?
Yes, I got to the end. Wow.
Isn't that great when he goes back and he's completely wiped and runs into her again, right?
Yeah, well, the final scene is just, it's kind of surprising. Well,
at the end of the day, you accept your slavery because this is a good thing. It's a good thing to be a slave because you'll be well taken care of, Dylan. Did you know that?
I can't tell if it's a propaganda book or a warning.
Well, if you ask me that particular question, I'll tell you it's both. But I'm serious. You really need to read Brave New World as well.
I was looking at it. Can you give me a little synopsis? Because none of the sites I have found for it will give me a synopsis.
Yeah, it's quite the Rorschach test, for people because there are different ways to look at it. But again, it's another controlled society. It's done a little differently. There's a little more of a focus on the breeding aspect and the drugging aspect.
But isn't that all covered in Gattaca?
Oh, come on, man. Really? No, that is just... I could not make it through that movie. I tried like 2 or 3 times.
I had to for my biology class. It was torture.
Ugh.
It was worse than actually having a test.
Can I talk in for a minute?
Absolutely.
Yep.
I honestly don't have no idea what anybody's talking about right now. I'm listening in. And biology class, I don't know what... And none of anything I'm hearing right now is really making sense, to be honest.
Making any sense to you?
No, but it has to be made more sense to more simple people like me, like made more simpler people like me.
Okay.
But you gotta like kind of like not talk about it so fast, and like it has to be more explained, more word by word, let's say.
I've got to slow down a bit. Yeah, everybody complains about that. I talk too fast. That's for sure.
And I try to follow his lead.
Because I'm not. But I mean, it needs to be explained because a lot of people don't understand a lot of that. That fast-minded stuff that, and then like no understanding.
Well,
It
where
needs more slower and more simplified, I believe.
okay, where was the disconnect that you had, and we'll see if we can explain it.
Yeah, let's
it was back at what you were just talking about, like 3 minutes or 4 minutes ago, I think.
We
I
were
have a memory problem to an extent, and I don't,
okay,
but I do.
we were
But
we were talking
what
about,
were you talking about again? Even I don't really remember what you were saying, but I was listening to it.
Well, I started out with discussing the today what's going on with Scotland and their vote for independence. Okay,
Oh,
that's actually happening right now.
yeah.
And then I mentioned that I had finally finished 1984 by George Orwell.
Okay.
And I simply told him that he needs to also read Brave New World.
And that brought us into a conversation about Gattaca.
Right. Is that where we lost you?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'll just keep on listening.
Okay,
Well, appreciate it, man. You know, and I am sorry to everybody out there. Probably I do talk too fast, and I always have a great deal of trouble getting my mouth to catch up to my brain. I'm sorry. I kind of move quickly in my head.
and I'm sorry that I'm talking so fast, too. I'm trying to...
Well, no, you're not actually talking that fast, but if you're talking to simple-minded people, I'm not the most simple-minded person on earth, but if you're the words can't catch up with them. It's like trying to teach a first grader how to teach them English in 1 minute or something.
Right.
I understand. Yeah, I'm compressing things too quickly. It's just, you know what it is I have some other listeners that get bored when I really take things step by step by step. And
yeah, and then you have the fast speed ones though. Like Jules Verne or whoever that runs the whole network.
Jules, yeah.
Yeah, that woman is the most advanced person I've ever listened in my entire life.
Oh yeah, she does a great show in the morning. You know, and she's
I listen to her every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I can never keep up with the amount of information that keeps pushing on her. She just keeps it going. I don't want to ruin your show. I'll let you guys keep on talking though.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. You know, it's a stream of consciousness thing with me. I'm not exactly a news show. I don't do exactly what what Jules does or some of these other people do, where they reference news stories and they play clips and things. I just sort of have conversations.
Yeah. You just kind of like go on with your words that you thinking. That's kind of the radio show I want to do. Do you think I could start a radio show on there?
Hey, you know what? Who knows, man? I have seen many a person start a show. You know, it's.
I'm not perfect at it, but I can try to be.
Well, nobody is perfect at it.
No, there are some of us who are much better, well spoken than others, but but the truth is that hey man, look, if you got an opinion, if you've got some interesting facts, if you've got some research, I say run it up on a flag and run it up on a flagpole and see who salutes it, brother. That's all I can tell you.
I have called in before a couple days ago, I think. I didn't listen to all the show that I said. I don't remember what I said all the way, and I was an idiot I'm still always that idiot that calls in, but because I'm always an idiot, like my dad said I was an idiot, but I don't believe I'm an idiot.
Well, look, man, there's no need to call yourself an idiot. My
dad always called me an idiot.
No, don't listen to him.
Yeah,
well, I'm 29 years old now, but it still goes through my brain.
Yeah.
But no, that's besides that. But I've graduated from that, though.
Oh yeah, well, I mentioned on the show the other day, and I brought a show to a stop really quickly when I said, people were talking about the kind things that their parents had said to them, and I said, well, I really remember very, very well my mother looking at me with a concerned look one time and telling me that I was simply too stupid to know how to lay down and die, and that's exactly the kind of person I am. So
sometimes that's a good thing, Chuck.
Yeah, it seems accurate, doesn't it?
Well, it seems like all of us here.
Well, maybe. Hey,
I'm actually part of you guys all together, and I'll just listen in and maybe say something if I think of saying something. But you guys can keep talking along then.
Well,
sorry for breaking up your conversation.
Not a problem. And who joins us right now is a guy who definitely scrambles my brain every time I talk to him. Vince Easley.
Hey, Vince.
Hey, Doc.
How you doing,
guys doing tonight?
All right.
It's a proud day for Scotland, I hope.
Listen, man, I'm trying to pull something up that shows me what's happening there, and I was hoping to have somebody on from the UK to talk about this, but it appears as though he's not going to reach us.
Here's what I've got. So I've got a website. The Guardian is tracking the results.
Oh, good. Okay, so what do we have thus far?
Sadly, right now, nothing, but they're tracking the results when they come up.
I see. Vince, have you seen anything on the feeds?
I'm on a page on Facebook right now, Scottish Independence Vote Yes, and there's an event there, 1,829 people have joined the event, and I'm not seeing any kind of results yet. But you know what I wanted to do, because this is so unclear for so many people, it's like in chat right now, we're getting, I want to see them separate, and others, I want to see them together. But we go back to the British Empire, and, America actually is part of that empire still, contrary to what people think. We're still under Crown rule and the courts and everything else.
The Queen owns all our Social Security, so.
Yeah, that was our reparations, isn't it? But anyways, so I was hoping that you guys might kind of give us a rundown on, the issues here at hand. I know there's, it's pretty convoluted for some people, for myself as well. So I was hoping you guys could kind of just break this down, and I'm going to hang up and go back into chat and listen to you guys. And thanks, Chuck and Dylan. You guys did a good job. And, hey, Gio, shout out to Canada. So love and peace, y'all. I'm going to jump back out.
All right, Vince. Thank you. Well, this is a very tough issue to tackle in one shot.
I don't have all the facts, so I personally, I don't feel very comfortable discussing the ins and outs of it, because really it's not something I've followed very closely as I should have.
Yeah, I have not followed the facts either. I have no idea what's going on with that too, to be honest.
Well, I'm not going to say I don't know anything that's going on, but I will say that it is a very complex issue, and that's why I was hoping to get at least one person from the UK to come on tonight. But
here's what I can do. I'm in a Skype room right now with a bunch of people around the world. There's one guy from Scotland in there. I'll see if I can get him if he's on.
Yeah, grab him if you can, because I had an invite out to two different people, not only Mr. Busby, but another individual. And, I really wanted a first-person kind of look at it, because they have a different viewpoint on this than we do.
I know Busby would have been here if he could.
Right. But obviously, something kept him from it, and that's okay. I understand. But the thing is, I was hoping for, please do go ahead and grab him, because after all, the British Crown's influence, and thusly as agents for the Rothschilds, is something that is monolithic. It's singular, really.
So, Chuck, I have an unrelated article that just got sent to me. If you want to touch on this a little bit.
Well, why not, man? We're kind of winging it here, because, like I said, I really wanted the people from Scotland to talk to me, or from actually one person from England and one person who was in Scotland. So,
the article, Medical Daily, cancer doctor confesses Medicare fraud after giving cancer-free patients unnecessary chemotherapy.
Well,
I've seen that a couple times today.
Yeah, Chuck. personally message you through my Facebook and send you my phone number and talk to you personally?
Yeah, sure, man. I'm on Facebook.
Okay, is that on Facebook?
Yeah, just Chuck Ochelli on Facebook. The Ochelli Effect has a page also.
And I'd like to talk for a couple hours personally, and believe me, I'm the nicest guy on earth.
Hey, I'm not saying that you're not, man. Definitely friend me, and we'll have a chat.
Thank you, and I'm gonna hang up though, because you guys figure out whatever Scotland stuff.
Well, we can
I need to go to sleep now.
All right, man. Well, you have a good night then.
Okay. Have a good night.
All right. Take care, brother.
Bye.
So.
All right. So, man, I really want to see the results of this. I really do.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm looking to see also, but I don't see it coming across on any of the news feeds that I normally have. So.
No, and I'm checking the trending, and it still says the polls are closed, but no results yet.
Yeah, well, isn't that odd? I mean, what, we don't have the exit polling like we have here?
Well, there's still fraud here, too.
Well, the whole thing is generally fraudulent. This is my point, and this is why I really didn't feel as though it was the hugest issue in the world. But at the same time, like I said, I'm kind of of two minds on it, because any sort of pushback against the Crown's rule is a good thing, generally, right?
I think that people are making such a big deal out of it, especially in the truther community, for the simple reason that this is the first time in a long time that I can at least recall, or that I can remember reading about, where we've pushed back against the powers that be. And I think it's a sign of things are changing.
Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, after all, Ireland is not under the same type of rule that Scotland is under.
No, but we've never seen the breakup of the UK before like this. I mean, I could be completely wrong. That's likely too, but I think people are so excited about this because it
represents some sort of progress, is what the thing is.
Right. And that's what I think, at least, and that's how I feel about it. No matter what the result, the fact that we even got the chance to get this far is astonishing.
Well, yeah, but you know what it is? I'm cursed with this guarded optimism or pessimism that continuously tells me that, first of all, the game is rigged anyway.
Oh, it is. We know that.
And secondly, is it going to do any good? I can envision the possibility that we're going to see a partial split, and we're going to see some sort of power deal that's really going to be mainly done behind the scenes. I mean, the usurping of the sovereignty of Scotland would be, inevitable at this point. I think because of their long-standing ties to Great Britain, right? And as I said before, if you just examine the idea that the pound is still going to be the money, or it seems as though that's the way it is. I mean, I may have a misunderstanding of this. This still means that they have that same sort of relationship. So if you don't, decouple the economic aspect here, what are you really left with? Except, on paper, it appears as though, they're independent, right? Like I was saying again, back to that damn, Mel Gibson movie. After a while, they did finally install a king, but they installed a king, right? And you still had a monarchy, and you still had the monarchy answering to the greater monarchy. So what did they really accomplish there except put a surrogate in place to execute the orders? I mean, they basically put a puppet in place, right? This is the kind of thing that I think is going to happen here, is that they're going to deceive the people that think that they're getting their independence, although there's a lot of excitement over there. And again, I really wish that one of the two guys that I invited would have showed here, because I would have loved to hear what they had to say. It would have done us a little better. I'll tell you what, why don't we just shift gears anyway? Because I mean, devolving into a discussion about the opium wars, the relevance of exactly what the hold is by Great Britain over the rest of the United Kingdom, so-called, and everything else, and exactly putting it into perspective regarding the EU is something that I'm not 100% qualified to do, I don't think. So I'm not going to do that. I was kind of hoping to explore that, like I said again, with somebody who's from there. So how did that friend of yours in Scotland fare?
I haven't gone in there yet. We've been talking, so...
Well, go right ahead and go see what you can do with him, because I would like to hear from him. See what's going on the ground there.
He comes on once in a while, so hope he's in there. All right, I'll be back.
All right, thank you. So, meanwhile, this to me, it just appears to be another one of those great distractions. I don't think that it's going to accomplish very much, because at the end of the day, the historical ties, the cultural ties that do exist, I mean, Scotland's a more rebellious sort of region anyway. I mean, there is an element there to that culture which is not quite so congruous with the English rule and all that. What?
Sorry, no one's there.
Ah, okay.
It's only 2 guys from Australia and a guy from Canada.
Ah, well, that's not going to do me any good.
Not really. Sorry, I was thinking about getting one of the Australians, but I didn't know if that would prove anything or support anything.
True enough. Vincent joined me back in. How you doing, Vincent?
Hey, Duck, I've sent out a message here. I'm trying to get somebody to call in. I got Max Bliss. He's over in the UK. I think he may be in France, though, but he's following this real close. But I did pull up an article. The polls are closed. It says it's 4.2 million people turned out, 90% eligible, and the exit polls have 47% voting yes, and so it may not pass, but you know how they try to influence people with the exit polls. So we'll see how that passes. Anyway, if Max Bliss adds you on Skype, a contact, that's who I've sent. He's a pretty big guy in media and stuff around over that way. So anyways, I just wanted to head you up on that just in case he does answer.
Oh, absolutely. I'd be happy to have him on, and I'm glad you found out about the exit polls, because I just asked about that. There's no exit polls that I see anywhere yet. I do see that the polls are closed, but I'm not hearing any announcements about it yet. So
1 a.m. Friday they will have the announcement, and I'm not sure what time zone that is.
If it's in Scotland, it's probably 6 hours behind, or 6 hours ahead of the East Coast. Maybe 5 or 6. I don't know.
Okay, I'm back out. I'm gonna see if I can't get somebody there to. So if he adds you up. Okay, thanks, guys. Bye.
Absolutely, thanks, Vince. Appreciate that. Yeah, like I said, I would love to hear from somebody who's on the ground, who's got their eyes on this, because I'm not getting too much information, and normally I do. So, normally I get more information about things than I ever wanted to see. We've been over that a few times, haven't we, Dylan? The whole Ukrainian thing is still being fed out there, but I'm getting a whole lot more leery of that information as it's dropping too. So.
Yep. And notice how ISIS was kind of pushed to the side.
Well, what else are you going to say at this point? I mean,
I don't know, but these media campaigns like to milk the straw man as long as possible.
Well, right, but you see, here's the thing. They're going to let that die away because they've set the table already. So what happens next is they need an event. Another event.
I'm not fear-mongering here, and I don't like people saying there's going to be an event soon, but there will be. I'm 99% sure of that.
Yeah, well, there has to be. Otherwise, you built up this... yet again another enemy of my enemy, construct for nothing. The only reason to build up ISIS, ISIL, IS, whatever it is you want to call them at this point, is in order to destroy them with, again, some other surrogate.
How about we
supply?
How about we do the same thing we did with Al Qaeda and call them
I cracked up the other day because I actually heard the ISIS crisis phrase, right? And it's the the ISIS crisis, right?
It's CI-ISIS.
Maybe. I don't know. But it's not exactly the same thing because, as far as I know, they weren't all our people to begin with, but we did arm them and support them, right?
Well, even if we didn't, we kind of facilitated their rise with all the idiotic things we've done. Even if we didn't maliciously do it, which I think we did maliciously do it.
Well, let me argue against you right there. Nothing was done idiotically here. This was all strategically planned. This is all part of the ebb and flow here. We beaten the one terrorist boogeyman. We had to get some sort of resolution on that, and of course we ended up dumping a body in the ocean, supposedly, that was in a house. We only had, this great mastermind leader, billionaire guy has, 2 laptops and
a cabin.
Yeah, right.
That can be raided so easily.
Yeah, so there he is, and he's gone and all done, and therefore, they're decapitated, and, whoever else we didn't capture and torture and throw into Guantanamo Bay and whatever else.
And going on to that, the guys who killed him are all dead at this point. So, if you can't... if you can't see a cover-up, then you're blinding your own eyes.
No, absolutely.
This one's obvious.
Besides that, shoot the hostage, right?
Right. And then throw him in the ocean.
Well, why not? That way there's, no way that we could... Well, they supposedly took a DNA sample to confirm that that's exactly who he was.
Right, and that DNA is never going to get out to the public.
No, well, what good would it do us anyway? I mean, how many of us are DNA analysts?
Well, that and...
Oh, you want independent verification?
Oh, silly me.
What's wrong with you, man? Really?
I'm a damn conspiracy theorist.
Just like legitimately, we've still never actually seen the autopsy photos in Kennedy's case, right? There's only that bootleg set, which I have a good copy of, but that's,
You find a way to connect everything back to that. It's actually really impressive.
It's not impressive at all. It's just because my mind is so utterly cluttered with JFK stuff, I can't stop. So it has to be referenced at some point, right?
So I wasn't aware when that happened, when Bin Laden was killed. So what excuse did they have to dump him in the ocean?
Oh, there was a lot of ham-handed sort of excuses. At one point they were saying that it was part of Islamic burial rites, which is absolute nonsense.
When have we ever cared about that?
As far as I know, never.
Except in the case of the one guy who supposedly did all these horrible things. Well, we'll respect that guy.
Well, And besides that, there was this whole other thing about not bringing him back to the United States because... that could, whip up another problem, and then it was just sort of shuffled away,
Right, like the problem when all the guys who killed him all died in a plane crash. Like that kind of problem?
Oh, you mean the guys who died on the Chinook helicopter that they should have never even been in? Those guys?
Yeah, those guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, look, at least they got to make a movie about it.
Yeah. That was on Survivor, right?
No, SEAL Team 6. Remember that?
I've never seen that one.
Oh, boy.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Well, somebody brought me an aggravating movie pack about a month ago, or no, not a month ago.
You want
sometime last year.
You want a really aggravating movie pack?
No. Hold on. Let me tell you about this one really quickly. Flight 93. Okay. What was it? SEAL Team 6. And Zero Dark 30.
Oh, I was gonna say Zero Dark 30, Argo, and Lone Survivor.
I still have not seen Argo.
Argo?
Go ahead, scold me.
No, I'm not gonna scold you for that. But I personally enjoyed the movie, even though I understand it was a propaganda machine. I enjoyed it. It was well made.
Well, a lot of things are well made, man. I mean, like we were even talking about the Judge Dredd thing last night, and in reference to the militarized police force and everything else, right? The newer version of it is even more, although the Stallone version is still good for a lot of laughs, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you.
Look, this is gonna get me a lot of hate. Anything Stallone does is funny, even if it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
Except Rocky.
You can't find the humor in Rocky?
Not really, and I can find humor in a lot of things. I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
Yeah, go back over it. Well, first of all, which one of the 6 friggin' Rockies, are we talking about, first of all?
We're talking about the first one. The other 5 are incredibly funny.
Well, the first one, when he's sitting there all irritated and Burgess Meredith is slapping him in the face and all that stuff, and his reaction.
I just love the image of her slapping Stallone. It's a great image.
No, Burgess Meredith is the old man.
I'm really going to have to rewatch that.
Yeah, Burgess Meredith is the old man. Talia Shire is his wife, who isn't his wife in the beginning of the first movie.
Spoilers, by the way.
Listen, it's not that hard to figure. If you've seen these before.
I know, but I've had people yell at me, spoiler alert, when I tell them the title. So...
Well, look, if you haven't seen Rocky, I mean, for God's sake, what am I supposed to do? Not tell you that,
he wins in the end.
Yeah, or gee, before you crack open your Bible, come on.
Well, yeah, not watching Rocky is like not seeing Lord of the Rings or Star Wars.
Yeah, really.
Your grace period has ended. Spoilers are fair game.
Exactly, and I mean, if your only exposure to Lord of the Rings, which is another interesting allegory, if your only exposure to it is the modern movies, well, there's a whole other history there you can entertain yourself with as well.
I've read the books and watched the old cartoon.
The cartoons are pretty funny, especially the one is totally in the wrong. It's not even in the same universe, style-wise or anything, so it's more hysterical.
I love the books. They're extremely long, but I love them to death.
Yeah, well, I started reading them, and then I spent the time to listen to a BBC presentation on radio.
Good entertainment for bad entertainment.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
I know, but actually, it gave me a...
Scotland decides... somebody just posted me a link to the referendum results. And then I click on the link and there's no results. Come on, people.
This is what happened to me, too. I'm not getting the news on this, so I was kind of hoping to have it.
What I'm thinking, Chuck, is 1 a.m. in Scotland, I think is 7 p.m. for us. So we'll probably have the results in about 10 minutes.
Well, that's when they should come out. So that's kind of filling and actually trying to ask some other people if they want to come on and discuss this because they have a greater understanding of it with than I do.
Well,
see, I don't proclaim to know everything.
No, you don't. Trust. I can vouch. Somebody else just posted the link, but no results on that either.
Well, go ahead and follow the link. Don't tell me about every link that gets posted.
I know. I'm just getting annoyed.
Yeah, well, but that's what's happening to me over here, too, and I just figure it's, a function of my bad eyesight, so therefore I surrender to it. I figure I'm going to have to wait for the explosion in about an hour or so to really actually capture what happened.
Yeah, well, what other modern... Have you seen any modern films, like films that came out in the past few years?
Have I seen any modern films? Again, you don't realize the backhanded stuff you say to me, do you? Like,
no, I really don't.
Since you've only watched really old style classic stuff, have you seen anything in the modern day?
Wow.
Well, after I got off of my dinosaur, Dylan, and I fell over and I bumped into this guy named Jesus, I did have to watch another movie But, I'm not that old, man. Come on.
Chuck, you do the backhanded stuff to me, too.
God, not like that.
Well, to be fair, I didn't even notice that until I said it. And then I tried to correct it really quick.
Yeah, but I didn't let you.
No, you didn't.
Have I seen any modern movie? What do you call a modern movie, Dylan? Let's start there.
Past 5 years?
Past 5 years. I guess I've seen some movies in the past 5 years.
I know you've...
One disaster after another. Alrighty, back on the air. Ay. And I was just about to connect to somebody that was going to give me some of those results. Isn't it wonderful? Well, this is what happens when we do it live, right? Alrighty, let's get this back together. Sorry to everybody out there listening. I do appreciate your patience if you're still there. Let's see if we can pull this off. There we go, Dylan. I have no idea, honestly, sir. Just all of a sudden, I seem to lose everything.
Oh, man.
And I was just in the midst of typing to somebody, trying to convince them to come on. And you look, drop me your Skype link. I know we know each other on Facebook. Drop me your Skype contact, and let's go. Let's talk about what's going on over there. And
you were just about to do another backhand.
Yeah, I probably was. Probably was, because I was just trying to tell you I'm not as ancient as you think.
Yeah, I know you're not. I know you're not ancient, Chuck. I could have put that better, but
Yeah, no, it's all right, you know.
Right now.
But I don't watch modern films. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't listen to much modern music either, Dylan.
I don't listen to it either, to be fair.
You know, although I've been posting some interesting stuff lately. You know, stuff with Payday Monsanto. I had a chance to talk to him not too long ago, so I was putting up some of his stuff.
I love that music.
Yeah, well...
That's Renegade, right?
No. Payday Monsanto. Different guy.
Ah.
Yeah. Look him up on There's a problem with the call.
There's probably a problem with Skype.
Yeah, it looks like I'm still on, though. Okay. Hopefully I'm still broadcasting. Alrighty then. You know, it's just one of those fun days. No warning whatsoever, and everything goes collapse. I love it. Now, let me see if I can get the browser back open and see if I can find any more news on this Scotland situation. Let's close this. Okay. So anyway, back to where we were discussing anyway. Modern films. All right, you said in the past 5 years. I really don't keep a chronological order on these things, so just start mentioning stuff, and we'll see if I bothered to watch it or not.
You got me too. I've watched a couple movies in the past few years. The Dark Knight trilogy. I'm sure you watched those.
Actually, that's one of my favorites.
Heath Ledger.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Oh, absolutely. I don't care what anybody says. That was a great portrayal, and it contained some of the greatest lines ever on the big screen. So, you know. I love that whole, you know, I don't know how I got these scars. I love that.
You do a decent impression, too.
If I get motivated, I can actually do it really well. I frightened somebody with it the other day.
Oh, I gotta hear this one day. Maybe off air.
Well, no, we talked about doing a movie show, but I wanted to organize my thoughts on it a little bit and actually, you know, go into the different messages, the subtext of the scripts that's out there and everything else. Like I said, Transcendence was killing me.
Here's one to check out. It had more subtext than Transcendence.
Okay.
It's called Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer.
It stars Chris Evans, Tilda Swinton, and Jamie Bell.
All right.
It's a bunch of countries unite, spray chemtrails into the sky, and initiate a global ice age. So the whole movie takes place on a train.
A chemtrail movie, though.
Yes, and it was fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, and the whole point of the movie was the train was the last beacon of life, and it was all about this revolution to, it had a bunch of messages about, like, police brutality, class warfare. It was awesome.
Allegorical tip of the hat to those of us who are trying to do these broadcasts, sounds like to me. But, again...
Yeah, it was directed by a South Korean filmmaker and released in only 8 theaters in the U.S.
Oh, then it must have been loaded with some good information.
Oh, it was. It was a great movie.
Yeah, they always try and suppress stuff that has, you know, real information in it one way or another, even if it's you know, through a novelization, a fictional construct.
I was fortunate enough to live right next to one that was showing it. I was really psyched for the movie, and I'm so glad it was near me.
Oh, but I gotta catch up on that one.
Yeah, that came out this year. Do you have Comcast? Because it's on there.
No, I don't.
I didn't think you did.
No, I've got.
Figured it was worth asking, though.
Yeah, I don't have a TV right now, even so. That's why I'm at.
You can probably find it online somewhere.
Yeah, I'll have to go look for it because I'm trying to avoid getting overstressed with the mainstream brainwashing at the moment. So, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, the Dark Knight trilogy even has some good messages on that.
Well, right. Now, here's something, though, that I do know is coming up because, I get all kinds of ads on my computer constantly. They're going to do this Gotham series now, too, right?
Yep, that comes out on Monday.
Okay, so that's coming up real soon.
Yeah, I'm going to be checking that out.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an interesting look at things, for sure. There should be some significant social statements in there. But
certainly.
But who knows whose side they're on?
Well, it's Fox, so you kind of know what side they're on.
Yeah, but is it a Fox, is it actually generated by them? You got to always look for who the production company is, because...
It's being produced by Warner Brothers.
Oh, never mind. Okay. It's all right.
Although Snowpiercer was kind of produced by Warner Brothers, and it was on our side.
Oh, yeah, and then Warner Brothers reluctantly, and here we go back to the JFK thing, Warner Brothers reluctantly released Oliver Stone's JFK. So,
Yeah, Warner Brothers isn't all bad, but they're certainly not any good.
Yeah, that's a whole other discussion about Hollywood and exactly what's wrong out there.
Oh, yeah, we could have a 2-hour discussion just on that.
Absolutely.
We should do that one day.
Yeah, the movie show and talking about the studios and the influences and exactly who's really running things and everything else, that would be quite the show, I think. If anybody wants to join us on this discussion here that has kind of gone off the rails a bit, yeah, 718-717-8296. I'm still pretty disappointed that we haven't been able to wrangle somebody from the UK yet, because I've now got 4 invites out there to people that said they would be happy to come on my show at some point, and they're not showing up. So,
well, I am disappointed that we haven't gotten the results yet.
Yeah, I mean, keep checking the feeds there, because that link that you had, maybe the results are forthcoming and they just haven't shown up yet.
Let's see. BBC says nothing. Guardian says nothing. All right. Well, I'll let you know when something pops up.
Yeah, well, please do, because that was what I was going to talk about most of the time here. And
that really gets derailed when you bring me on, because I can't stay on one topic for long enough. You and I seem to have that same problem. We can't stay on a topic for 2 hours.
Yeah, well, God bless the ADHD that I have, right?
There's no such thing.
Yeah, I know. It was an ironic comment, sir.
I know. But some people don't understand irony, and it's quite sad.
Yeah, but sadly, they are the ones who need it the most.
Yeah, and they're the ones who get used on the most.
Mm-hmm. Irony, see, ironic.
Ironic.
Yes. Okay. Now I'm trying to grab somebody else.
I'm trying to think of other good movies that I've seen lately. Have you seen the Hobbit series yet?
Part of it, but, it's one of those things where I was a little irritated that they had to split that into, so many pieces.
Well, you know why. It's Hollywood. The first movie made, $400 million. The second made $600 million. This new one coming out in December may pass $1 billion.
Well, right, and,
And they want to capitalize on this.
Well, why have a cash cow if you're not going to milk it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You think they'll do the third Lord of the Rings series as similar?
That's been something. You know what? If they see profit in it, we'll see it.
Yeah, because from what I understand, the Tolkien family doesn't want to sell it to Peter Jackson because they hate the Lord of the Rings movies and they hate The Hobbit.
Right. You know what? I even got one of these links now that says, here's the results, and it's not there. Thanks for that.
I've gotten 3 of those so far. It gets irritating, Chuck.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because you get the little thing turning around, and then it just comes up with nothing, right?
Yeah, Guardian, right?
No. This one goes to the Guardian. This one goes to Yahoo, of all places.
Yeah, I'm on the Yahoo. I'm on the Yahoo one, the BBC one, the Guardian one, and the RT one. Figuring one of them will give me the results.
Yeah, the BBC has got to cough it up. Let's see.
Yeah.
Scotland's vote for independence. Scotland has voted on whether to stay within the United Kingdom or declare independence to break the 307-year-old union in a finely balanced, referendum with global consequences. Scotland's verdict on the union should be clear around breakfast time on Friday.
Breakfast time for who?
This is according to Yahoo News.
Well, they're based everywhere, so...
Yeah, so I don't know what that means exactly. Maybe it's their breakfast time on Friday.
Yeah, which would be 1 in the morning for us, like Vince had said.
Yeah, probably. Let's see. But a YouGov, Y-O-U, and then capital G-O-V poll of 1,828 voters previously polled indicated 54% of Scots would back the Union, while 46% would seek independence. Oh, they're quoting from Reuters.
Oh, well, then we can't trust it.
Here we go. Here we go.
Somehow we always find a way to bash Reuters, even if we're not talking about them specifically.
Well, if they keep doing stuff like this, and here's the interesting, creepy part. Notice that Vince pulled up something somewhere which came up with a 47% exit poll result in favor of independence, and isn't it curious that they're saying that it should come up with a 46% vote?
Sure. You're going to have to forgive me for asking a stupid question. What's an exit vote? Is it the same as a regular one?
Yeah, you don't know what an exit poll is.
No.
An exit poll is where somebody this is the basic idea behind an exit poll. Someone stands outside of a polling place where people are voting and essentially asks them which way they voted.
So it's 47 to 53.
Well, on this one it says 46 to 54. That's
and on Vince's it says 53 to 47.
Right.
So
virtually the same result.
Yeah.
But Vince said it was an exit poll, which means that it should be, live in real time while people are voting. And this is a preemptive poll ahead of time, where they even told you what the sample amount was, which was 1,800 and some odd people.
Yeah, 1,800. Let me check my thing.
It's a fair sample.
Yeah, it's not all of them by any means.
Well, no, but that's what it is. It's a sample. It's an indicator, generally speaking, and it's not, definitive in any way, shape, or form. But generally speaking, exit polls are fairly accurate when they're conducted fairly.
Well, that might be where we have a problem.
Well, yeah, and who knows where that comes from, because Reuters, see, that's that YouGov. That's why I was trying to look up this YouGov group here real quick.
Wasn't Reuters also describing a dead body from MH17? Should we really trust them?
Well, it does seem as though they got their eyes and ears everywhere, so maybe, just maybe.
Well, maybe.
Don't trust some of that. I mean, it might be accurate, it might be egregious and a bit excessive, and, extraneous, but...
yeah, all of those things. Absolutely. It's incredible. I'm trying to figure it out, but, I hope it works out. I know it doesn't mean much, but it's something, right?
Right.
I know you have kind of a bit of a pessimist attitude with it, kind of, in your own words.
And see, when I take a look at the YouGov site here, we see, of course, discussing Iraq and Syria, Ebola.
Hey, I thought this was kind of comical. The United States sent 3,000 troops to fight Ebola. Are they going to shoot it? Are they going to bomb it?
No, they're going to contain the infected, of course.
Oh. Shouldn't that be the government of Africa's job?
Well, now you're just splitting hairs.
Yeah, now I'm just making sense.
Well, you're just splitting hairs. What's the difference if one government does it or another? They're all working together.
Not all of them. Most of them I'll agree. But there is resistance.
In one way or another, everybody's got to play ball, or they get, decapitated. That's the way it goes.
Gaddafi, Saddam, Assad. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
It's kind of an obvious thing that happens here. Let me see if I can get to this here. Let's see. Last minute surge on events. I'm trying to pick this up because it's not coming through as usual. Americans are easily. What is the point of polling Americans about their perspective on Scottish independence before the vote?
Here's something.
Go ahead.
NDTV. The exit poll said it gave the remaining in the UK a slight edge, but it also said 600,000 people were, at the time of the exit poll, undecided. So that could go either way.
Odd. Okay.
Odd, but it could go either way, right?
Yeah, of course. I think that's the point of this game, though, because, let's see, we're actually following the issue. I'm more likely to say Scotland should remain in the United. And if you take a look at this YouGov article, you'll find it says Americans are evenly divided on Scottish independence, kind of almost exactly evenly divided like the polls are going to show here, right? And then we look at, however, those who are actually following the issue are more likely to say Scotland should remain in the United Kingdom.
Is that Reuters?
No, sir, that's YouGov. That's literally, let's see. Yeah, YouGov.com. Let's see. Remain in the UK.
All I can do is sigh at some of this stuff.
Become an independent country. Okay, remain in the UK, become an independent country. Those following the events about Scotland independent. Yeah, they're showing you graphs to explain, the difference. People in the United States and the South, of course, many more of them favor becoming, independent in Scotland.
Oh, I'm with them on that. I mean, I know it doesn't really matter, but I think it would make a nice little statement.
However, Southerners following news about Scotland independence disagree and say, you see, the informed population should think that the Scots should remain in the United Kingdom. That's the point of this. You see, this is the suspect thing. Now, look, I did that on the air just looking at what Reuters was citing, okay? And meanwhile, take a look at their agenda. Well, even though it seems about evenly split, let me tell you what happens when people are actually informed.
Well, here's the irony in all that. I'm doubting that 46% of people are informed, or 54. I doubt 54% of people are informed. I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt that any greater than 50% of any population is actually informed about the realities around them. So, yeah, good point.
So good job, YouGov. You just figured out what maybe 10% of the population is thinking.
Wow. Okay, and here's other issues on the very same page. Okay, of course, the United States separated from Great Britain more than 2 centuries ago, and being independent is important to Americans. But that hasn't translated into support for Scotland doing the same thing. Americans also oppose provincial secession in the country just north of the continental U.S. by 5-1. Americans think that Quebec, where secessionist votes have failed in the recent past, should stay in Canada.
I know some Canadians who would disagree with that.
Well, here's the funny part about this. Remain in Canada / Iraq, okay?
Iraq.
Yeah.
Who's this again?
This is YouGov again. / the Kurds should. Oh, I see. I get it. They're combined results from people remaining in Canada and people, the Kurds, remaining as part of Iraq.
Okay, well, I was about to say, I mean, I didn't think it was possible, but I was about to say these guys are worse than Reuters.
Yeah, that does happen, I guess.
If they think Quebec is part of Iraq, then yeah, they're really bad at their job.
Well, let's read on here for a second. But there is a different answer when it comes to Iraq Kurdistan. Americans favor independence for the Kurds, and that feeling is particularly strong among those who are following current events in Iraq, which include recent attacks by ISIS very closely. Then people in this group favor Iraq Kurdish independence by 53 to 23%. I guess a bunch of them are undecided.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, 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 ding. You know, isn't that part of the discussion, right? How in the world... What? Because it's supposed to be a secession movement? You think that the Kurds extracting themselves from the Iraqi disaster that is there now has anything to do with Canada and Quebec remaining in Canada?
And
you gotta be kidding. Yeah. So here's under the heading secession. Americans also oppose secession in their own country by nearly 2-1. They reject the possibility that a state or group of states should be allowed to leave the Union if a majority in the state or states voted to secede. While there is a little more support for the idea in the South, of course, and among Republicans and conservatives, those groups too oppose the notion. Should I continue with this?
Well, hey, Chuck, let's look on the bright side of that part of the article. They didn't say those who are informed.
Oh, but yeah, they did.
No, they didn't.
Wait. Allowed to leave the Union among them, while there is a little more support for the idea in the South and among Republicans and conservatives, those groups are opposed. Okay, state groups should be allowed to, let me see, 2-1. They reject the possibility of state or states should be allowed to leave the Union as a majority. Okay. You know what? You're right there so far.
Oh. Hey, take whatever victories you can get with these guys. They seem to be beautiful comedy stars.
Okay, here we go. Allowing U.S. states to secede. The question supposedly asked, presented by the pollster here was, let's see, favor independence. American states, 30%. Okay, just checking something here before I read this.
I had a question, Chuck.
Go ahead.
How did this whole thing with the secession start?
Well, because of the idea of Scotland seceding from the UK, right?
Right, but how did that whole battle start?
Well, that's been going off and on. Many parts of the UK have wanted to extract themselves from it over time. I mean, it's hard to really trace the exact beginning of that history.
Right. But now, a follow-up, if Scotland leaves, do you think it could start a ripple effect?
See, I don't think so. I don't, but...
I don't know.
They're going to be allowed to anyway, to be honest with you. Okay.
No, I doubt they'll be allowed to.
Do you think a U.S. state or group of states should be allowed to leave the Union if a majority of the residents of those states voted to secede?
Yes.
Okay, this is the question that they posed, right? So, in total, they have 49% presenting as no. They have 26% saying yes. Then they go to breaking it down to Democrats, in which case 62% say no and 17% say yes. Okay, Republicans, 47% no, 27% yes. Okay, Southerners, 45%, well, they're virtually the same as the Republicans according to what they said earlier, so kind of makes sense. 45% of Southerners say no, and 27% say yes. Okay, now, conservatives, 40% say no, and 33% say yes. Utterly squashed. Okay. Wow. I don't know why this conversation leads into this, but this is part of the narrative, and this is part of what they're going to use. I'm wondering, again, if this is not just one of those, beta tests to see what goes on when somebody tries to extract themselves from an empire. Because after all, there's been plenty of talk of that in the United States, hasn't there? And we do have an American empire, despite what, CNN tells you. We do have an American empire, so let's never forget that. And,
I just...
Go ahead.
I've gotten to the point you were at last week. I've just gotten to that point where remember where you were at last week with all these issues? Like you were tired of them?
Well, it exhausts me after a while because, as much as I want to, get down to what's really behind a lot of this stuff, the problem is that there's just such an overload of garbage that it's just, it becomes, it makes one weary to have to continuously sift through the refuse. That's all there is to it, and man, it makes me want to sit here and discuss TV shows and movies with you.
I am really with you on that, Chuck. I'm worn out, man.
Yeah, and you're just listening to me read this stuff and it's making you tired, right?
Yeah, it just...
Don't start sounding like that, man. You're going to sound like me. That's not good. Okay? You are far, far too young to feel quite as beaten as I do on a daily basis. Do not do that, sir. Please.
Well, I don't feel beaten on a daily basis, but I feel like today it's just... It feels like I'm just beat over the head today.
Yeah, I understand, but let's give the BBC one more time. We'll give them a refresh. See if they've got this.
They do not. Well, actually, they do have one thing.
Okay, tell me.
The turnout. 87.9% of people turned out.
Yeah, but we knew that hours ago.
Yeah, I don't know why they're just getting to it now.
Let's see. The referendum results live. Okay. If you go to the Scotland section of BBC, let's see what we have.
Live, okay.
Yeah, that's what I tried to go to here, and let's see what we have.
Okay.
Scottish referendum results. Each of Scotland's... Okay.
It is 12:18 a.m. there. So, 12:18 at the last update. So... And they said we'll have it at 1 a.m. So we'll have it in about 40 minutes. We'll have it at the end of your show.
Right at the end of my show, because right now what they're saying that they're going to present is that each of Scotland's 32 local authorities... You know what? Oh. I really don't need a pop-up right now. Go away. Thank you.
My prediction, yes. Okay. I don't know why. Optimism, probably.
Yeah, I predict no, and I'll tell you, let's see. It says each of Scotland's 32 local authorities will declare their results. So that means 32 precincts, basically. The bulk of results are expected between 3 and 5, it says here.
3 and 5, I'm getting 1.
Yeah, well, the final outcome is expected to be known around breakfast time. Here we go with this breakfast time thing here. 97% of the Scottish electorate registered to vote. Voters answered the question, should Scotland be an independent country? And this is all that the BBC in Scotland has to say right now on their live feed. That's what I'm getting anyway.
What I'm getting here, Tom Doherty says that he is confident that it will be a no, based on the last YouGov poll, of course.
Well, why not, right?
Why not? Well, trust the guys that thought that Quebec was part of Iraq.
Well, no, they didn't say Quebec was part of Iraq. They were combining results to show a trend that the people that are in agreement that, Quebec should remain in Canada differ about the Kurds or are on the same page as the Kurds. I got a little lost there. Distracting themselves from Iraq.
I got really lost from listening to that article.
It's probably just my bad reading again, Dylan.
You do fine most of the time. I mean, that article was just... I pulled up the article.
Oh, you got it, right?
I tried reading it.
Yeah, it's fun. You see those graphs, though, the blue and green graphs?
Yeah. I'm amazed that they don't have a graph that says, these are the people who are actually following the events, and these are the idiots.
Well, I don't know why they just don't say, look, smart people think this way, dumb people think this way.
Because that would probably be a problem. I mean, that's essentially what they're saying, but they can't outright say it. They have to sugarcoat it.
Well, there was a children's magazine years and years ago where they had these two characters, Goofus and Gallant. You ever heard of that?
I remember that, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it seems like Goofus would believe that states have a right to secede from their nation if they're dissatisfied and their voters agree to do so. Gallant believes that every state should remain in its appointed union and not cause trouble. You know what I mean?
Which is actually the opposite of what it should be.
Yeah, of course, but, we live in the black is white and white is black world here,
2 + 2 = 5.
That too, and,
1984.
Yeah, that's true, and if you don't agree, well, we'll just keep asking you the same question until you do.
That scene in the book with the rats. You remember that at the end?
You know what? It's been so long.
O'Brien takes Winston into the cage. He puts the mask around him, and he describes how the rats chew through the cheeks of their victims.
Oh, right. And then this is where he learns that it really doesn't matter what the right answer is.
Yeah, well, that's when he says, "Don't take me, take Julia. Anyone but me."
Yep.
That's where he gives up, and man, that was depressing.
Yeah, well, but that's what it's meant to be. Is at the end of the day, regardless of how revolting the control system is, you're supposed to accept it, right?
Well, I don't really feel like getting my tongue chewed off by a rat, but hey, there are worse ways to live.
Well, and at the end of the day, I mean, if that is the price of freedom, right?
Then it's worth it.
There you go.
You have to be willing to die for it.
Yeah, but you'll see a whole lot more of the discussion of like the drugging of the society and the biological control in Brave New World. Man, I'm telling you, you got to check it out.
I was actually, as I was reading 1984, I was a little confused on how they got the population to that point.
Yeah, it does sort of, the way it starts, well, they sort of explain that, I think, in the foreword, right?
Kind of, but it's really left open.
Yeah, well, when you take a look at the history of the author of that book and you find out this does actually link right to the British Crown.
Here's something.
Uh-huh.
Off of the live updates.
Okay, what do you got?
BBC, Jane Lewis says that Renfwit, I have no idea, is going to finish verifying their votes in about 3 minutes. And one says, in one town it's no, I won yes. So we're getting the expected result here.
Yeah, the split vote, that'll be too close to call, and they've already decided there won't be a recount, so,
Naturally, they'll vote no.
Yeah, well, it happens to be the will of the people,
Yeah, even though it's even.
Right. And, and I hate to... Go ahead.
If it's a 3% margin, why don't they do something like, draw it out? If it's like a 3 to 5% margin, what they could do is just... This is probably too much of a hassle, but just split Scotland. I mean, if it's that split, then... Yeah,
but to make geographical dissections of places over stuff like this, I don't know. It's a fair idea, but it's not going to happen. I mean, it's an all or nothing prospect here, And who decides where the line is drawn, and who actually gets the wonderful oil wells? Because, after all, Scotland is one of the most oil-rich areas in the United Kingdom. So it definitely plays a role in this whole thing.
I have an interesting theory that will never come to pass. Thank God. Well, this is kind of funny.
Go ahead.
I'm just reading now at the Press and Journal UK. CNN reported that 52% say no and 58% say yes. That's awesome.
That cannot be.
It's true, though.
Wait a minute. That can't be something that they put out.
They did. I'm looking at it.
Oh, send me that link. Send me that link. I want to see that for myself.
Oh my
because
God.
I cannot believe that. Because that virtually means that there was 110% turnout, which, does happen in the United States when dead people vote. So that would be great, but I got to think that you're misreading that somehow.
Nope. Here's what it says.
Please send it to me.
Okay, I'll read it first. We have been bombarded with referendum polls for weeks, with all but one showing that no campaign will sneak a win. But the yes campaign will not throw in the towel. According to CNN, yes will... Oh, they got... the article got it wrong. They mixed up yes and no. That's awesome.
Well, tell me about this. What happened here?
They say 52% will say yes, but in the video that they show 58% say yes, according to this thing.
Nice. So they got their graphic wrong on the video.
No, they got their writing wrong.
Oh boy.
The graphic is from the TV.
Okay, so the graphic is correct? Are you sure? You see, that's the thing. Which one is correct now?
The graphic is correct. The writing is wrong. That's beautiful.
Oh, wow.
That's beautiful.
Well, who reads anymore anyway, right?
Right. It says, based on these numbers, Scotland really has given the referendum 110%. It says, but the Americans have found a couple 100,000 extra Scottish citizens and still have no, which means yes, on 58%, while yes, which should be no, is 52%. That's, that one is...
Tell me what website that is on.
pressandjournal.co.uk.
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ.
I'm literally speechless.
That's the first time you've ever been speechless. You usually have something to say.
Wow. Really, drop me that link. Let me see this. I gotta see this for myself. I mean, I will even though I don't often make the effort to bring it to chat, I will bring it to chat and drop it in there for them because I want this seen.
This is amazing.
I hope you're misreading this. I really
do too. There's the link for you.
All right.
I really hope I'm misreading this because otherwise, this is probably the greatest news fail of the year.
Yeah, you can say that. Let's see here. All right, let's click on it. And going to my ucy.tv page and see what I can get there.
Let's see.
Sometimes it doesn't cooperate with my computer, so I am going to try and just drop that link in chat.
It says, we have been bombarded with referendum polls for weeks, with one showing that yes will sneak the win. It says no, but it should be yes, because, wow. I hope this article was written badly on purpose, because otherwise this is embarrassing. This is worse than Reuters.
And Reuters has made me good and crazy, that's for sure. I mean, even off the air, I've shown you stuff that is just like, what the hell?
Yeah, we've talked a lot off air about that.
Yeah, I mean, and I just pick random stuff out to show you, like, it's not even like the stuff I'm focused on necessarily, but just all over the place, like, all this egregious, extra, explicit nonsense that they've added to their news feeds. I don't get it. Anyway.
Did you get the article?
I got the article. I'm actually going to drop it in the chat here, which takes me a minute, which is why I usually don't do this, because it always takes too much time.
But this is too great not to show your audience.
Oh, I know. We're gonna put it up there. Let me get it here. Let's see now. Yeah. Just the nasty amount of pop-ups are killing me here. But I'm actually going to drop this in there for you guys.
It's beautiful.
Let's see.
It's wonderful.
This is what Dylan is talking about. Okay. So you guys see that. Actually, you'll hear me say that in a minute. Let me see if I can now go to it myself. Oh, boy, oh, boy.
Oh, my God. I've seen some bad failures by news organizations. Usually it's only one. This time it's one reporting on an error another one made while making errors.
That's pretty extreme, sir.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I hear you there. That's definitely... Oh, good. My browser just closed up on me. Let me try again.
As long as your Skype stays open again.
Yeah, the Skype is open at the moment. The browser just collapsed. And now it's trying to open itself 4 different ways. Okay. Let's just shut stuff. Oh, come on. Close it up. Okay, the Press and Journal, that one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Scotland gives 110% according to CNN Blender. Okay. Well, that's funny too. You did. I go to try and look at it, and it tells me that I've already reached my level of free articles for the month. You have reached your limit of free articles for the month. Subscribe today for as little as 99p. Excellent. Excellent. So I can't look at the Press and Journal, but hopefully my listeners can go and take a look at this.
All right, here's what I'll do.
No, don't even worry about it. Let's just.
No, I'll go on. Yeah, that.
I'm good at this point. I mean, unless you can get a live update, or we can get somebody on from Scotland toward the end of the show here, I give up because.
I just find that article fantastic.
I know, but I've never even been to that. I might have been to that website, recently in the past day or two to take a look at something. But how many free articles did I consume? Now, there's a limit for free articles on that press site. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, you're only hurting yourself in that one.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
But hey, if you're gonna say CNN fails and then fail while you're writing your article attacking them for failing, do you really have to make a whole lot of sense?
Well, that's the arrogant professional wrestler who goes to headbutt the guy and drops down, and the guy moves at the last second, right? And all the world is a stage.
So, after seeing this, how much more do we have to see before we can say CNN makes up polls? I think this kind of seals that.
Well, a lot of places seem to be just making up poll results.
Right, but I think it's the mainstream media in general does this. And do we need a more perfect example?
Well, you have to know what other people think about things in order to know how you think about things. Don't you know that, Dan?
Okay, maybe.
I'm being a smartass here.
I know, but and I'm being one back. That's how we work.
All right. As long as you think we're working. Okay.
We're midway through the second hour, and we have not yet started talking about other dimensions and New Jersey. So, until I just brought it up, but we can excuse that.
Oh, but why bother? We could talk about New Jersey and the nexus of evil that's up there.
I think we gave them plenty of that during the last show.
Could be.
I think they're a little tired of us doing that at this point. But
yeah, but I have a right to take as many slams, and my free articles of slams at New Jersey have not been used up for the month. Okay.
Well, hey, if you have a right to take stabs at Jersey, so do I, Chuck.
Well, I was born in a little pockmarked hole in the universe called Long Branch, New Jersey, so I think I have a right based on that alone.
And I lived on Fort Dix for a long time.
Lovely.
So
I work right by there.
My dad was in the Air Force, so we lived there. So you and I have a lot of rights to take stabs at that place.
I was only a stone's throw from Fort Dix on 9/11, so. I mean,
Yeah.
literally.
My dad was sent to Iraq to deliver supplies when the war started.
When the war started?
Mm-hmm.
We should probably get him on one day.
I don't know how good an idea that is.
Okay.
He doesn't believe in all this stuff. He's kind of against that, but hey.
Well, you know, an in-first-person thing with somebody who, was doing something at the time could actually be really revealing if we just let him tell his story. You never know.
Yeah, I want to try to get my grandpa on here. He was in Vietnam, and he was in Korea.
Yeah, we talked about that before. I would definitely love to talk to him as well.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I'm trying to, never mind.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how, you know what we were talking about when we first started talking?
Right.
That led me into the conversation about about my grandpa.
Right, that's true.
We're going to have to talk about that again, because...
Yeah, I'm going to have to go over that one night. There's definitely not enough time tonight left. And
certainly not, but...
We pretty much pissed away these 2 hours, so...
Yeah. Have you been having trouble getting guests for Thursdays?
Well, I had people drop on me that were supposed to show and everything else, and because of personal issues, I hadn't made a tremendous effort. I figured I could have conversations with you. I was hoping that Mr. Busby would come on tonight, or possibly Mr. McLeod would have showed up.
Sorry, you only got me, man.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. If Mr. McLeod would have showed up, we could have had an interesting discussion as well.
Yeah. But I do enjoy these conversations. They're a lot of fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, despite the disaster that this show has been tonight, everybody can find Dylan doing something called The Truth Speaks. You can find the archives of earlier shows on YouTube, and also you're still broadcasting on Shake and Wake, right?
Correct.
And actually, I did a show with you last night, didn't I?
Yes, I'll be... I don't think I can. Never mind. You know what I'm talking about, Chuck.
Yeah, well, they actually mentioned that on Tuesday. The Liberty Beacon thing is going to kick off pretty soon.
Oh, they mentioned it?
Yeah, Terry did.
Okay, so I'm allowed to talk about it then.
Well, I don't think you're allowed to talk about it too much, but to mention that it's going to happen and that you're going to be a part of it is okay.
Yeah, I don't know much about it either yet. I'm still kind of in the dark. I don't know my schedule yet.
Yeah, well, but I don't think they've quite fleshed out the schedule yet.
I'm trying to write my bio for Randy.
Yeah, I gave him my overbearing, ridiculous description. So hopefully he'll edit that down.
Chuck, can we talk at the end of the show about how to write one? Because I've never talked about myself before.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In writing, I guess you've done it.
Yeah, and I would hate to see the continuation of this whole, a paraplegic in a wheelchair. I mean, I've mentioned it before on the air, and I know you're not opposed to mentioning it, but I don't think it needs to be the focus of who you are. So,
no, it's not, and Rick mentions it a lot. Rick advertises it on the front of his website, but...
Right. So I don't understand that necessarily, but...
I understand it. I don't love it, but... Look, I'm not opposed to bringing it up once in a while, but like you said, it's not who I am.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in our first conversations, I wasn't even really aware of exactly the extent of your disability, let's call it, for lack of a better word.
Same with you.
And, you weren't aware of that with me either until we started trying to exchange things back and forth, and I'm going, I can't really see that, Dylan, sorry.
And when I said I can't really type to you too well.
Yeah, that was okay. But,
yeah, we've gotten there.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't mind talking about it. I mean, I just don't love it being the front and center part of my banner, but hey.
Yeah, well.
If that brings in listeners, it's better than what I've got.
Well, maybe.
I haven't seen my ratings yet, so.
Well, we'll see how that goes, and I'll talk to you about it after I take care of a couple of things over here.
I've got to talk to you about a couple things after the show, if you're good.
Yeah, no problem. I just got to take a break and check things out, but after that I can. Okay. So, obviously...
Sorry, you had to listen to us talking about stuff that won't pertain to anything on air.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, because of the lack of individuals showing up, and one person I knew was iffy to show up anyway, but I was really hoping for the other one, and even the guy that Vince tried to contact, I guess, didn't want any part of this. So, as usual, I scare people away, I guess. I don't know. It's okay, though.
Well, Chuck, if it makes you feel any better, I've had trouble getting guests, too.
Yeah, well, welcome to radio. Schedule the best laid plans of lunatics like us often turn into this kind of stuff. So,
well,
okay.
This is not the worst show we've ever done, Chuck.
Oh, no, come on. I can't see that we've done a worse show yet.
Oh, actually, this is pretty good. I mean, we really haven't... I don't think we've done a really bad show.
I don't know. I'm not too thrilled with this one because everything I tried to do, and I even had a couple of things in my back pocket here that I was going to try and pull out, and none of it came to. So we just wind up babbling here and searching for things on the internet we can't find, which, by the way, go ahead and check your live feed there and see if there's any possibility we're going to get it here in the last 10 minutes or so.
I'm checking now. The last live update... Ooh, this is actually really interesting.
Okay, go ahead.
Allegations of electoral fraud in Glasgow. Double vote already.
Nice. Nice.
Nice.
So I'm not too far off. It's all going to be fabricated and manipulated anyway. Big surprise, right? Especially when they have a combination of electronic and paper ballots over there. And, again, who's going to count them? Well, that's really who's going to decide, isn't it?
Oh, my. I can't even. It says, electoral fraud allegations in Glasgow.
Now, who's making the allegations?
Let me check this. Herald Editor.
Okay.
Which is an editor for the BBC.
Oh, great.
So, if they're admitting fraud, there's fraud.
Well, you knew there was going to be allegations of manipulation of the vote and, the pushback and everything else. I heard earlier today from people that, were possibly going to come on the air that there was a lot of shenanigans already going on over there, but they didn't really get into deep descriptions with me.
On which
side?
I
was thinking we were going to do. On the side of keeping them in the UK.
Oh, good. So they're not going to try to make the side that's right look bad. Well, yeah, give them time.
Well, yeah, that'll happen. That'll happen because if manipulation of the vote is proven on the one side, they'll show it on the other side. This is exactly, what we face in America, isn't it? So,
yeah,
it's the same thing. I mean, we don't even pass the muster of international standards regarding fair and balanced elections at this point.
Oh, we rank 50. We rank in the bottom 50 of the most freedom of press.
Oh, yeah.
Does that surprise you? Julian Assange, Bradley Manning, Edward Snowden.
Well, yeah, and of course the point that everybody brings up that we're now looking at 6 corporations controlling the entire flow of news throughout the land anymore, as opposed to independent agents who are out there actually, doing real journalism, which is one of the points I brought up in the beginning, is that, the concept of true journalism is pretty much dead at this point.
I had somebody pose an interesting question to me. Even if 6 companies ruled all the entertainment, or all the media, no, I think I got that right. Wouldn't somebody still speak out, was their question.
Well, but it's much less likely when you only have 6 options.
Right, and that's what I said, and I also said they would probably be silenced or taken as a crazy person.
Yeah, and plus any reporter that decides to engage in any sort of truth speak at all is marginalized, removed, and dropped down the memory hole.
Yes. So it's not really at all surprising that this is the case.
Right. I mean, it's a fait accompli, though. If you only have 6 entities controlling the whole thing, what do you expect? But
I just find it really funny that earlier we were talking about bad polls with CNN, and then not 10 minutes later we found out that that there was voter fraud.
Well, voter fraud, and then, of course, 110% of a poll. I love that.
That was beautiful.
That's pretty good right there. I wish I could have read the article, although I have never been on. I looked at my browser history. I've not been on this website, so I don't know how it is that I'm limited on my free articles already, but okay.
Maybe because they say, oh, you can only have 0 articles every month.
Well, that is something I didn't consider, Dylan. Thank you. Appreciate that. Sometimes the stretch of illogical rules and governance, do elude me now and then because I have this, common sense problem.
Yeah, I have the problem of I'm able to understand the illogic. And that could be an issue, it could not be.
No, it helps me. It helps me because, you know what, it causes me to have to look at things from a different angle at least.
Well,
I do appreciate that because, engaging in conversation is usually my best mode of operation when it comes to trying to learn things. So one way or another, I do learn something new every time we do one of these shows. Again, my apologies to everybody because I was going to try and get some people on the ground to discuss this with me, but of course, I got one of my repeat callers, and I got Vince, and I got nobody else. So,
and my apologies for not being from Scotland.
Well, that I'm going to have to hold against you, sir. But you are Irish in part, aren't you?
Yes.
All right, then I can forgive you.
Large in part.
Yeah, me too. I'm Sicilian Irish, so that's
Italian too, and Italian, German, and Irish.
Well, look, as long as you're not French, I'm happy. So.
Oh, no.
I have that irrational hatred of the French. I can't help it. It is probably the only country in the world that, real honestly, if it entirely disappeared off the map, I would have no problem whatsoever. I mean, of course, they could take the city of London with them, but
of course, that's obvious.
But if we only got Paris and its satellites removed from the atlas overnight, I would not be disappointed.
Not at all.
Because
France can go to the dimension where California and New Jersey came from.
Well, I'll make that trade. We'll put up with them. Why we have all 3 of these places on our globe at this point in time, I do not know. But I'll make that trade. I'll put up with the strangeness of California, and New Jersey, as toxic as it is, at least I'm accustomed to it, so I'll deal with that. That's just fine by me.
Yeah, hey, I'll take it. It's not ideal, but I don't like it here anyway.
And Vince, did you lose me still, or am I gone? Because now he's telling me that he lost me. I don't know.
Well, it might be for the best.
Let's just keep going, and hopefully, it sounds like the network's okay to me.
Do you want me to go check?
Oh, I'm good. Okay, we're good. So we are just about to wrap up anyway, and of course I had to get my anti-French, statement out there. I didn't go into a tirade, though, believe me. There's a big, long tirade I can have, and, my apologies to my...
let me check the live updates.
Please do, because we're just about to close out, and of course my apologies to my son who has a little tiny touch of French blood in him, unfortunately. But, what can I say?
Man, I understand your hatred of the French, honestly.
Well, it just, if you want to look for the most despicable European collaborators in history anywhere, no matter who's telling the story, guess what? There they are.
I closed out the browser with the live updates, and I can't find it.
Nice. It's all right. You know what? The show is just about to end, and I want to thank everybody for bothering to put up with this. I doubt that I kept any of my listeners throughout the entire show tonight because, of course, we lost contact, lost track of things, went off the rails, and did not cover what we were going to cover. But
it would not be a show with you without it, Chuck.
Well, a little bit of chaos is definitely in my blood, and of course, as I discussed with the astrologer last week, or was it 2 weeks ago? I forget. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Of course, I'm an Aries with all kinds of Capricorn risings, so, there's all sorts of chaos and strife in me. What's up? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not that bad, but...
Yeah, well, it's...
I'm Scorpio, and my dad is March, so I don't know that one.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't have that stuff in front of me. I'm not quite in the right mindset. I'm just saying that, Mars being the ruling planet for me, that is a conflict planet, so therefore I guess I do thrive a little bit on conflict, and of course
that's why your show's fun.
Have that tendency to charge forward regardless of the consequences, just like the Ram, of course, and this is what I do. So... But, again, thanks to everybody for listening on the alternative streams on the UCY.TV page. Of course, you're listening to UCY.TV radio, and, of course, you'll be able to go get the MP3 of this show and better ones, in fact, on the page if you go to UCY.TV/TOE. Also, you can find Chuck Ochelli on Facebook, SoundCloud, although I have not updated it in about a month. I'm just getting ready to, because really not too many people visit that one, so I don't really bother with it that much, but I'm still uploading, and all of the old episodes are on there, that's for sure.
I have a question, Chuck. How do I set up a SoundCloud? Because I kind of want to set up some more ways to watch my show, because YouTube's not working for me.
Well, you can put it up there, and you can network with people on there, and there's probably a lot more stuff you can do with it that I don't do. But it's mainly for musicians, so I also put up some of my music and other things on there. But this radio show, from its first episode to very recent ones, although not the most recent one, has been put up there. You can just sign up. You just go to SoundCloud.com and sign up, and you'll find a world of stuff on there. Even Ground Zero, Clyde Lewis's show is on there. Archived as well.
Well, let's see if I can pull up the BBC again.
Well, give it one more shot, but I think we're just about done on time here.
Yeah, we're done on time now, I think. Because I know your bumper's about to kick in.
Yeah, it's coming. It's a-coming. Of course, that obnoxious thing is also up on the SoundCloud in the bumper form and the raw form. Something Jules and I batted back and forth and just dubbed my own voice over it and some other noise, and there you go. That's how that got created, and you can check that out along with some other obnoxious music of mine and the many, many shows that I've done. First show with Joan Mellon is up there. Many shows with John Barber are up there. Scott Edwards' interview. Ernest Tidovitz's interview. When I spoke to, let me think here, Larry Hancock, Stu Wexler, of course, many, many shows with Roger Landry, the Liberty Beacon shows, a lot of them are up there as well. Stuff I did with Vince, stuff I did on other shows on this network, and even a couple other places. James Corbett, Jack Blood's interview.
Have you been on James Corbett?
Yeah, I've been on Corbett's show a couple times, and he's been on mine once, and right now we're having a conflict with time schedules. Otherwise, I was going to bring him back, because he did a really great documentary on the Federal Reserve you should check out. It's essentially slavery.
I wanted to have him on. I watched his documentary, and it was awesome.
Yeah, you saw the one on the Federal Reserve?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely great. I really love it, and it's got even some humor in it. And again, thanks to everybody for listening. Stay tuned. Wow, great day.
at the age of 19 in 1962, she was a
But I have the files. You know, I read this stuff at the National Archives, and I read these other things. I said to myself, how can that be possible? You know, days and the fondle slab of choice that on computers doesn't really matter. Internet, professional wrestlers, and not just even tourist style. It doesn't matter where the information comes from as long as it's real. It doesn't. It's hard to get real information because seriously, they don't want you to have just read two sources together. Whenever I